Hello and welcome back to the Awakening Philosophy podcast. Thank you for joining me. Now, we've done a few we are in the Meno, just a reminder, we are finding Meno. So, we've done a few reviews lately, and that's been really helpful. That's part of the process, it's part of the game. Reflection, review, repetition. This is all part of the things Socrates outlined in the Phaedo, to do with philomethesis, the first level of reading, the first level of learning, which is the philomethesis is love of learning, and that leads into philosophia, philosophy, when we start applying the dialectic. It's the exercise in the study of philosophy. That's what we discovered in the Phaedo. So we're doing two at once. We're reading, we're repeating, we're reviewing, we're talking with our friends, we're sharing our insights and creations in the chat and in the Discord. Thank you for those who are sharing their work in the Discord. It's been a lot of fun to read. And keep going. As we say, keep running and keep jumping those hurdles. So where we are is we've just finished a dialectic. Within a dialectic, within the seeing the parts of the text as a whole as the categories of the dialectic, we are in, okay, this is just a hypothesis.
But hey, that's just a theory.
That's part of the game, developing theories, collecting them, carrying them with us, seeing what pans out. And our theory is we are in the demonstration section, section 2 of the text, and we've just gone through a dialectic, it seems, and Socrates has come to the conclusion. Now it's a demonstration because Socrates is doing it. What he defined as maybe virtue, maybe dialectic, that's a puzzle we have. He's now using, that's going from definition to demonstration. He used it by asking Meno, hey, we've come to a conclusion in the first section. We have a paradigm that we can use to think, to come to understanding, to come to truths. Can you use this paradigm? Now, this is a big deal because currently in our world, we lack this ability. So we are in a crazy world. It isn't crazy because there's a rationality behind our irrational and immature way of relating to ourselves, each other, and the planet. That is, we don't know how to come to understanding. We don't know how to come to principles. Instead, we're just throwing opinions at each other and seeing what sticks. And if it means doing a genocide, we do a genocide. If it means enslaving people through the fear of starvation and capitalism, via capitalism, then that's what we do. And if people say, hey, that doesn't seem right, we'll say, well, aren't I entitled to my opinion? Who is to say what's right and wrong? And then nothing happens and they keep doing it and we keep repeating the same cycles of failure, which we call fate. We're fated to remain imprisoned in the repeating cycles of negativity, failure, negative states of mind, and ignorance. Now, that's where our friend Meno is. Meno represents where we are as a species and where we are as individuals. And he fortunately ran into a chap by the name of Socrates. Perhaps the greatest human being to walk the planet. He himself called himself a gift to humanity from the gods in his trial. And we call him the father of Western thought today, which is great that people acknowledge his brilliance, but kind of comedically tragic because people don't actually listen to him. How can he be the father of Western thought if we're not paying attention? Well, one reason is we've had crummy translations of his words up until now. So we are reading a text in a way that we've never been able to do in modern history because we have the actual Greek. And our translator is somebody who's actually been playing the game. He's not projecting his own ignorance onto the text the way past translators have done. So, is that rude to say? Is it impolite to suggest some people do better than others? Is it rude to say Meno's opinions that virtue is harming people he doesn't like? Is that bad to say that his opinion is garbage? No. However, we have to acknowledge when those blocks to the logos come up. Because we're learning the logos, but along that path, the logos, the paradigm, the principle of understanding, along that path of logos will come up and try and silence us. Thou shalt not judge. Thou shalt not say that guy's doing something bad. Let him do bad things. Craziness. So, recognize when anything comes up to say, hey, it's mean or rude or arrogant or impolite or un-American, any of these words that imply wrongness for judging, using your mind, asking questions, coming to understanding. Recognize them, take notes in your book, and they become gold. They become material that we can use in our philosophical midwifery reading group that we have on the channel. So be sure to check that out. Nevertheless, we are judging. So how is Meno doing? We jumped that hurdle and we keep going anyway. It's important to judge. How well did Meno use the paradigm? Well, we're talking about how poorly our society uses that paradigm. We can't come to an understanding. We can't come to principles that are universally true. We are really upset because it seems people say one rule for thee, another rule for me. The laws should protect without binding my group, while they should bind without protecting others. That's the hypocrisy within our society. The Jews, it's all really bad and genocide happened to us, but it's okay if we do a genocide. The rich people say, well, it's okay if those poor people go to prison. Those poor people can't steal money, but we can steal much more money and we should not have any punishment. The law should actually protect us from siphoning away the wealth from the population. Money should be like water. It should flow around society to keep things going so that we are able to meet our needs with some degree of freedom. Now, ultimately, all of our basic needs should be met already because they're universal, and human beings' lives are full of fear and suffering if we don't have our basic needs met, and we can. And all it will mean is one less $100 million yacht to the guy who already has 8. What a sacrifice. Nevertheless, instead of allowing money to flow around society, some people build a dam, hoard it off, sit on it like a dragon, at the expense of the well-being of society and other people. So that's what happens. Is it bad? Who's to say? Now that's what we're discovering. What is to say? What is the paradigm that can go from the many different expressions of virtue, different opinions of virtue, Meno's opinion, billionaire's opinion, genociding war hawks' opinion? Who can take them? How are we able to go from the many to the truth? Such that it is a standard for all. That's a principle. So that's what people break when they say one rule for thee, a different for me. When they flip-flop and they are hypocrites. We don't like it. We need to have a language and understanding of why we don't like it. It breaks the logos. The logos are truths that are universal for all, that becomes our principles and standards that we need to live by, because they're the principles that govern reality and thinking. And the dialectic is our paradigm that we use to discover the logos, know the logos, directly apprehend the logos, integrate the logos into our way of being, see the logos everywhere, and use it. Use it artfully to benefit those we relate to. That's necessary for an art. An art benefits the subject. And that's what we are seeing being demonstrated in the demonstration section of the text. Socrates has given us enough clues to figure out what might be the a good possibility for what virtue might be. The use of this what we call the dialectic, the way of apprehending and using artfully the dialectic, which makes use of the logos, which is a principle that exists prior to the physical world, allowing it to follow rules and principles and things. So that's what we're after when we look for principles. That's what laws should be based upon. In fact, that's the republic. The lawgivers the laws in society are a metaphor in the republic for the logos. Now, it's written in black and white. Now, the word logos hasn't been translated as the logos up until now, so thankfully we have the Balboa translation and we can see it and it's obvious. And once you see it and you recognize, oh, of course, if there are principles of reality that are true for everyone, doesn't matter what skin color you are, then of course our law should be based on them. So we can avoid this who's to say question about people, authority. Whose opinions do you like? Well, I like this Abrahamic religion. Well, I like this poet. I like this billionaire. I like their opinions. Who cares? We're after truth. That's the logos. So, simple, obvious once we see it. But how obvious is it to Meno? Because after we had established a paradigm for coming to a single definition, a principle, Socrates says, can you use it to give us the principle of virtue? Don't give me a swarm. Don't point to many different things and say, that's virtue, that's virtue, that's virtue. No, that's not a definition, pal. And so what did Meno do? He quoted a person he liked. He quoted a person who shares an opinion that he happens to like, the personal preference for. All right, so not doing well. And we're judging him, which is important. Now, that was our first dialectic. To really reiterate, we have it on the board. And my mouse sometimes is, here we go. Let's go through it. Quick review. Demonstrate the paradigm, Meno, says Socrates. Demonstrate the paradigm of going from the many to the one, coming to a definition of anything. We use the dialectic to know what is beauty. Not a beautiful thing in the physical world that we perceive with our physical senses, but beauty itself. What is truth itself? What are the principles themselves? And in this text, what is excellence itself? What is the virtue? What's the highest excellence we can have as souls? Use it. What does he do? He quotes a poet he likes, and that begins with the definition. That's the definition of this part. My definition is virtue is desiring beautiful things and to be able to acquire them. The demonstration, what does Socrates do with it? He takes the word beautiful and turns it into good. When you say desiring beautiful things, do you really mean good things? So he's guiding him step by step together. There are no speeches. There are no lecturing. It's not being lectured at. He's not trying to convince him of his opinion. He's not trying to make bad faith arguments or personal attacks or make him cringe by being gross to get him to change his mind or give up. No. Question. Hey, by the way, do you think this? Oh yeah, I do think this. Okay, let's integrate it, roll it over, and keep going. All right, so what's the division? By the way, can we divide people into two categories, says Socrates with his art? One category of people who think that bad things are good, and another category of people who actually recognize for themselves that bad things are bad. Do you think people who actually recognize that bad things are bad, do you think they'd still go on desiring them? Meno says, appears that they do. Appears that people can desire bad things if they think it's good, or if they actually recognize it's bad, they'll still go on desiring it. What a weird view of people. Appears both. So what's the synthesis? The word appears. Appears. That's a key word. A key word, appears. Tells us about Meno's level of thinking. He's interested in appearances. Where do appearances live? The physical world. The world of opinions. Socrates' analysis, or taking this back to the topic. So it appears to you, using the word, again, rolling it on. We went from beauty to good, and that became what we used. Now the word appearance has been used. He rolls that on. Appears to you that anyone who recognizes, that was the word we introduced, that also rolls on. Recognizes that bad things are bad, nevertheless goes on to desire them. That's our conclusion. Appears to you that people who actually recognize, what does recognize mean? That bad things are bad, nevertheless go on to desire them. We still want that bad thing, so we want to drink that bleach for some reason. Now the word selves means this applies to every level, because selves can mean them, goes on to desire those things. But selves also is the honorific, goes on to desire this idea of being. So selves can be things in the physical world, can be things in the world of being, or the world of becoming. And of course, we're ultimately after the one self, the cause even of the realm of being. That's the self. Greater even than the divine. So, do people desire an idea of their own self to be bad? Do you want to be rubbish? Even if you recognize it's not true? When you recognize it's a bad definition, do you nevertheless go on desiring that bad definition? Of yourself? Well, it appears to Meno that people do, even though we might disagree. So now we're on to the next part of this text. Now, again, so our hypothesis is we're following the structure of the dialectic, which means we have defined something. What have we defined? Have we defined Meno's problem? Need to get a new mouse. Is his problem that it appears to him that people who recognize bad things are bad nevertheless go on to want them? And what have we defined? That's our question. What have we defined? And what does Socrates do with it? So we could say, oh goodness, this mouse. Oh my goodness. All right, that's what I'll get next. I'll get a new mouse. Because this isn't wanting to move. Here we go. All right. So is this the demonstration section? Or demonstration part? In which case, we need to start with a definition. Can we see a definition starting this next section of the text? Let's have a look. It appears to you, Meno, that anyone who recognizes that bad things are bad nevertheless goes on to would nevertheless desire themselves. Quite so. What do you mean by desire? Do you mean to come to be self? So we have a definition of desire. That's interesting. He's doing something, he's demonstrating something, and it starts with a definition. Let's write it on the board. So we want to understand how to be virtuous ourselves, if this is virtue. Or we want to understand the model of thinking ourselves, the dialectic. That's the exercise of philosophy. Neat? Yes. Okay, so definition, what was it? Desire is it to come to be self. Bring our space a little bit. There we go. To come to be self. Now there's two key words that we can see here. The word self, meaning it can be any level. What level of development are you at? Are you still relating to the physical world? Then you have an idea of yourself, even in the physical world. Maybe your job, maybe your persona, your mask, how you talk to people, your accent, how much money you got in the bank. You can desire that self to be greater. You want, if you desire something, I want to be famous. You want that to come to be self, meaning it's not yet being, it's coming to be. So to desire something is to make it into yourself. Come to be. It's a process. You're not there yet. You can't desire something you already are. That's not what desire is. I really want a sandwich. Well, no, you're eating a sandwich. Oh yeah. I guess I'm fine. Okay, so, but because it's the word altos, the word that has tragically not been translated up until now, which allows us to reawaken philosophy, which is the name of the channel, and we're happy when that happens. Right? When John Die Hard says, "It's time to die hard," in the movie Die Hard, the audience claps and cheers because he says the name of the film. And that's what we do when we say awaken philosophy within the context of what we're talking about. So come to be self. Now, what level of self are you at? Have you recognized that our physical world is not the eternal, not that realm of logos, not that realm of principle? It's the world of appearances and opinions. It's always in change. Do you recognize that have you had an experience of yourself out of the physical world? Have you separated the soul from the body, like what Socrates says is the goal of philosophy? True philosophy, the art and practice of death and dying, separating your soul from the body. In which case, maybe you've had an experience of the world of being and you recognize, oh, that's me. That's me there. I'm not my idea of myself. I'm not my ego. I'm not my persona. I'm not my mask. I'm not my bank account. I'm not how many Instagram followers I have. I'm not how many subscribers I have on YouTube. Good news for me, because I don't have a lot yet. But the people who do subscribe are the best ones. Which isn't an opinion, by the way. This is the activity we're here for. Anyway, so because the self applies to that level of being also, the honorific, this also means you. To desire something, maybe you desire justice. You want to know the aspect of yourself that exists in being, mind itself. You want to have it to be just. You want it to be well ordered. Maybe beauty itself, maybe likeness itself, maybe goodness itself, maybe the logos. You want to recognize yourself in the realm of being, honorific, but also have understanding. See the intelligibility, see the understandability. You don't just want to be overwhelmed by it as beauty itself. That can be overwhelming. The experience of yourself as being, as the aspect. Again, the word has been mistranslated as form. But the word that has been tragically mistranslated as form is eidos, which is aspect. Do you want to experience yourself in being as the aspect of beauty? Or do you also desire the logos? You want that to come to be self. And of course, beyond the realm of being, there's even a cause of that. The one self, or the first hypothesis of Parmenides. So that's a keyword self. It applies to whatever level you're on. That's a definition of desire. To come to be and also self. Neat. Meno says, yes, come to be. What else could it mean? Socrates asks, is there anyone who is led to believe? Okay, this is an upgrade from just thinking, led to believe that bad things are bad. Sorry, is there anyone who is led to believe that bad things benefit the ones who become bad? Or do they recognize bad things harm the one in whom bad things would come to be present? All right, so now that we've defined desire, how would it demonstrate? Is that demonstration? So if it comes to be self, bad things that come to be self harm. Actually, that's the second thing. Let's move that down then. First part is good things that come to be self benefit, which is a led to belief. Notice beliefs you get from others. Others lead you to beliefs. Whereas the idea, the demonstration of desire would be if you actually desire bad things that will harm the self that it comes to be in. So let's make that capital letters because it's the key distinguishing term. That's something that isn't a belief. That's something you, what's the word here? Recognize. So learning must be some movement away from dumb old beliefs, because just because you believe something doesn't mean it's true. Hey, I have a belief that I am the chosen people and I get to do genocide. Is that a belief? Yes. Is it a harmful one? Yes. Just because you believe it does it make it true? No. So instead, we want to, if we are wanting to be mature and rational, we want to leave beliefs behind. Why? Because you can be led to believe that, We can be led to believe that bad things that come to be in self benefit. Yeah. People have those beliefs. That's how, that's marketing. Buy the soft drink. It will benefit you. Will it? No. It will harm you, but it will make the person lying to you rich. That's capitalism. A society based on this. To do harm to others, but to do so by leading them to beliefs that the bad thing will benefit them. Scam economy. Right? That's grifting, that's con artists, that's capitalism. Whereas we want to go to recognition. You can recognize the truth for yourself. You don't have to believe it, and it's not led by someone else. And what do we recognize? That if we desire bad things, and we have defined desire to come to be self, that bad things that come to be self actually would harm. Make sense? Simple? Sure it is. Simple when you see it. All right, so is there anyone who is led to believe that bad things benefit one who becomes bad? If you're becoming bad, can you be led to believe that it benefits you? Or do they recognize that when bad things harm the one in whom bad things become present? Meno says, there are those who are led to believe that bad things benefit, and those who recognize that bad things do harm. So Meno is learning. He gives you a thumbs up, gives us a thumbs up, yes. There are people who believe that bad things harm. Who recognize bad things harm, and there are those who believe it actually benefits them. This hat looks a bit goofy. It's a bad hat. Are there, and do they really appear, do they really appear to you to recognize that bad things are bad when they're led to believe that bad things are beneficial? So here is a division. The two shall not meet. No. You can't at the same time recognize things are bad while also being led to believe they benefit. It is interesting because that's what we have to do. In order to learn, we have to let go of our beliefs, because you can be led to believe that bad things are beneficial. We want to recognize, see for ourselves. This is why we have to awaken philosophy. Philosophy is the movement from beliefs into recognition or understanding, including the understanding of understanding itself. That's the dialectic we're learning. Isn't that neat? Yes. Meno is saying appearance, though. He's still using the language. So, excuse me. We recognize a keyword because we see the value in, we see the significance of the word appearance. Appearance is the physical world, the world that you can have opinions about, beliefs about. But we're not interested in beliefs and opinions. We're interested in recognition. Recognition is something that you can have of the realm of being. Recognition or remembering, that's learning, that's education. We at one stage knew beauty itself. That's something we covered in the Phaedo. We saw reality itself. We were in reality itself, but as human beings, we forget. So what we can recognize are the things in being that are eternal, that are the principles, that are the onenesses and not the manynesses. Right? So why are there problems in the world? Because we haven't yet moved from belief to recognition. Through dianoia, understanding of the realm of being, and nous, direct experience of the realm of being. And it would therefore follow also that that's why we would have conflicts. Are you confused about what belief to believe? Are there beliefs that do you harm? Do you carry unsuspected false beliefs about yourself being not good enough and reality not being caring and full of integrity? Are they bad beliefs that do harm, but nevertheless you've been led to believe them? Yes, that's called being human. So when we recognize that the physical world that we perceive through our physical senses is the realm of appearance, it jumps out at us. Just like if a doctor asks a patient some questions, they might say, yeah, I feel a stabbing pain. Oh, stabbing pain. That will jump out at me because I already have an understanding of what stabbing pain might mean. So that's why appearance jumps out at us. That's the physical world. Appearances that you will only have conflict in. You can't come to principles. You can't discover the truth in the world of appearances, which might be one of the causes behind Meno's problems. Another reason why appearance can jump out at us is repetition. He's using it again and again. It appears like this to me. It appears. All right, let's keep going. Is it not clear? Is it these double negatives? Is it not clear then that these people do not desire bad things since they're unaware that selves are bad? They desire those things they think are good, whereas they are indeed bad. So that it is clear that those who are unaware that selves are bad and instead think that selves are good desire good things. Okay. It is quite possible. Again, the physical world of appearances and beliefs and opinions, it's just a probability. That's science, right? Probable. What's more probable that's going to happen? Probability. Is it possible or probable? Not really what we're after as philosophers, as people who seek truth. We want truth, not probability or possibility. So again, we can see the difference between Meno and Socrates here. Now, Socrates says, what next then? So that gives the impression this could be a conclusion. Maybe that we've already seen a conclusion. Maybe we could see the division and the conclusion here. But let's keep reading and see if we can see where this dialectic finishes, concludes. What next then? As you say, those who go on desiring bad things, being led to believe that bad things harm, are the ones who become bad. By recognizing without a doubt that they are harmed by bad things. Oof. Okay, let's unpack that. Okay, those who desire bad things. Let's make that blue. No, green. Those who desire bad things, being led to believe that bad things harm the one who becomes bad. Okay, so it sounds like he's saying that even those who have been tricked still, so even those who are in the level of belief still have a belief that bad things harm. Because even though they what they think is good is based on belief, they themselves recognize, let's give it a different color, purple. They themselves recognize without a doubt, so there's no place for doubt when you recognize something, that they are harmed by bad things. That's curious. Even those who seek those things that are bad, they've been tricked by this or that politician. They've been tricked by this or that capitalist. They've been tricked by this or that marketing executive. They've been tricked by this or that cult leader or preacher. They've been tricked by this or that family member. Even those people being tricked, led to believe that the bad things are actually good. They still recognize without a doubt that they'll be harmed by bad things. They don't actually want the bad things. Meno says necessarily. That's a different conclusion. That's clear to him. It's not possibility or appearance, it's necessary. Let's keep reading and see where we go from here. Because we can go back and see if we can find the dialectic structure. But let's see if we can keep reading. This might be one whole section, or maybe we've already concluded and we're on to the division stage. Let's keep reading and see. But do they not think, oh goodness, these double negatives. Get used to it. Do they not think that those who are harmed are miserable? Okay, we see thinking. The harmed are miserable to the degree that they are harmed. So the more that you're harmed, the more miserable you'll feel. Also necessary. But are those that are miserable mean-spirited? Okay, so we have a progression. That's pretty cool. So we have come to a mutual conclusion. Meno was stuck. He still thought that there are such thing as, like, and we have this, like, those who are justifying genocide, who are justifying war, who are justifying invasion, justifying capitalism. They do this. They think there is such a thing as bad people. They deserve to be exploited in capitalism. They deserve to be genocided. They deserve to be invaded. What makes them bad? What makes them different? Well, we use words like evil, which is a fancy word that means they desire the bad things. The devil wants the bad things. He loves it. Savages, oh, they want the bad thing. It's what the Israeli people are calling the Palestinians right now as they engage in a genocide. They call them savages. Oh, what makes them a savage? What makes them different to you? Well, we are the rational, good people in what they're calling the most moral army, which is a doublespeak. We talk about people who talk in that way, heralding. I call it heralding, but we can call it, confessions. Heralding is like back in the old days, you would have all these noblemen and they'd come to a party and you'd have a herald introduce them. Welcoming King William, champion of the people, most beloved by the subjects, lover of workers' rights. And almost always, it will be the exact opposite. William will be hated by the people, will be crushing people's rights, will be working against the people. Right? Modern example. Again, it's annoying to talk about this guy, but he's a very easy example. A pathological liar, Donald Trump, will say, I'm the most honest. Someone with a litany of criminal offenses will say, I've never done anything wrong. It's the exact opposite. So, that's another example. We are the most moral army. You're heralding. You are the least moral army. One of the reasons is you have this kind of ignorance. In order to justify, capitalism, land grabs, stealing things to meet your physical desires, you are perpetuating a myth that these people are the bad people. What makes them bad? Oh, they are savages or the devil or evil. They are heathens. They're not of our religion. What makes them? That's just a name, but what does that name mean? It means they are people who desire the bad thing. Meno had the idea that virtue and excellence is harming your enemies. What makes someone your enemy? The bad people. What makes people bad? They're people who recognize bad things are bad but nevertheless go on to desire them. Therefore, we can't reason with them because reason is good, and we've called them bad guys or savages or evil, meaning they wouldn't desire the good thing like cooperation and reason. That's bollocks. Formerly in philosophy, we call that bollocks, garbage, nonsense, lies, propaganda. But what we've reasoned here is there's no such thing. Why? Because as we've defined desire as come to be self. So if you desire bad things, the bad thing would come to be self. When bad things come to be self, the next step in that reasoning is it would harm. Does anybody desire that which harms? No, because all people recognize without a doubt that they are harmed by bad things. So why would the bad guys or the enemies Meno wants to harm? Why would they desire the thing that harms them? They have been led to believe. Led to believe right here. So, no need for invasion, no need for genocide, not even need for prisons. Because prisons are for the bad people who do the crimes. Why would they do a crime? If crimes are bad and everybody knows without a doubt, recognize without a doubt that they're harmed by bad things. Well, then what's the cause of crime if people aren't just bad because of their nature? They're not chosen by God. Simple. Belief. They've been led to believe that things they think are good are things that are actually bad are good. They've been led to believe the bad things are good, so they desire those bad things. Not because they're evil and need to be blown up and tortured and have their family blown up and have their neighbors blown up. That doesn't help you change the belief. What does? Philosophy. The dialectic. Hooray. So, simple when you say it, but it still needs to be said. And understood, and broken down, and the parts seen. Because maybe you'll be in a conversation with someone, maybe a family member, who thinks, you know what, we should build more prisons, or we should do more wars, we should do more genocides. So by the way, and then you can have this conversation. Let's see how well Socrates does. Oh, and you'll be being like Socrates, which is a wonderful thing in and of itself. Because Socrates perhaps is a demonstration of virtue. All right. So, by the way, we're rolling on now that we've come to that conclusion that they're going to be harmed now that they've been tricked by belief. The griftosphere, right before this recording, I got an YouTube notification by a YouTuber named CoffeeZilla. If you're familiar with this channel, you might enjoy him. He's just a reporter that reports on the many famous and extreme grifters on the internet, like Andrew Tate. And he is somebody who is well known for lying to his audience to convince them that the bad things are actually good. And one of the techniques that, you know, these people who develop an audience, Andrew Tate, Mr. Beast, who else? Logan Paul. These people, they develop an audience and they sell them cryptocurrency. And then what do? They use this game to actually take all their money. Why? They convince them that the bad thing that will harm them, their stupid cryptocurrency, is actually good. Now, they are harmed, what will happen? Why do we care about being harmed? Well, we also will become miserable. So we've got another level of development, become miserable. And then those who are miserable become mean-spirited. Oh, so we're seeing further consequences. So maybe this is the division. What follows? Pushing the consequences. When you see something, keep going, push the implications. That's part of a dialectic. You've defined it. Push it. Where does it go? How does it function? Demonstration. Keep going. What happens next? Break it down into divisions. Keep pushing the implications. So what's the implications of being harmed? You'll be miserable. What's the implications of being miserable? You'll become mean-spirited. Now, mean-spirited is an interesting word, and we can see, because we're in the Balboa translation, not only do we have a much more accurate translation, we have the Greek underneath. And we can see the word kakko, which means bad. Let's highlight that. The Greek for bad. And let's give it a pink. And then the word, big one here. Daemon. Daemon. Mean-spirited or bad daemon. Now, the daemon is one of those very important words, keywords in philosophy. This was, of course, why Socrates was murdered. His official charge was he, instead of believing in the nonsense religions that are being told, being led to believe in false gods, he had a daemon, a voice that communicated to him, a divine voice that communicated to him in every possible way to help him in his journey, a guide. We're all given a daemon, says Socrates, that guides us in our life. And they heard that and they said, that's very interesting. I didn't already think that. That wasn't something I was led to believe at a young age. But it's very interesting. So I'm going to do some good work in finding what my false beliefs are that limited me from seeing it myself. And I'm going to do the work in understanding what this daemon is, experiencing it for myself, opening up that line of communication, and be benefited by a daemon. And if us people of Athens start to do that and recognize that this is one of the highest goods that we can do and creates the greatest benefit, we'll create laws around it, and we'll create a society that makes it easier for others to also understand and experience their daemon and get divine guidance towards their highest destiny. We'll make laws based on it. And that's what they did. Actually, no, that's not what they did. That's what they should have done. But instead, they opted for just murdering him instead. Bad move, Athenian people. How neat would it have been if they did the other thing? Right? Interesting how belief can be the cause of our problems, and it's not because there are bad people. The problems are caused by belief. Even though that's the case, even when faced with Socrates, who can make the most rational and sensible argument that we have a daemon and it would absolutely benefit you to understand and experience and talk with and be guided by, even Socrates, those false beliefs that cause us to be harmed, which make us miserable and mean-spirited, are even more powerful than Socrates himself, and the logos, and the dialectic, and reason. It's crazy, isn't it? It's like, hey, here's a delicious ice cream. Ice cream? I didn't already believe I was going to get an ice cream today. I'm going to stab you in the face. Doesn't that sound stupid? Yes. But that's what beliefs do. Beliefs are really powerful. They get you to do that. Why not just eat the ice cream? Why not enjoy and have, and by the way, we could do this ourselves. We can make our own. And those who eat a lovely ice cream are made happier. Yes. And those who are happier act nicely towards people. Yes. So we should take the ice cream. We should develop a relationship with our own daemon through reading the text that we're doing together, understanding it through the dialectic, applying that dialectic in everything we do to become virtuous souls. Maybe that's the condition for becoming aware of the daemon, who, if the dialectic is the paradigm for understanding and beneficial communication, like Socrates is communicating with Meno, and the daemon's nature is to benefit you in the highest way, he would be communicating the logos. And the way he'd be communicating the logos is the dialectic. Meaning, if you don't learn the dialectic and practice it, and learn to use it, speak in that way, if you don't learn the language of the dialectic, you're going to miss out on that benefit, that goodness. You were going to have an unwrapped Christmas present. So, by learning the dialectic, we get to eat the lovely ice cream. We get to unwrap the lovely present. If we don't, we will be harmed and be made miserable and become mean-spirited to ourselves, our loved ones, and anyone else we have influence over in the world. Just like those in authority right now. So what do you want to do? You've heard about this daemon. We could reason to get right now that probably going to be communicating the logos from the divine through the dialectic. What are you going to do? You gonna eat the ice cream? Even though no one in your upbringing spoke in this way, we haven't even had a translation of Socrates in this way up until the last 5 or 10 years. So it's very likely you don't believe this already. You were not led to believe this already. Are you going to change your mind and eat the ice cream? Or are you going to go the other way and stab the guy in the face who's offering you the ice cream? Share your response in the comment section of YouTube. Which way did you go? Did you become more dedicated and focused to learning the dialectic and connecting with the daemon? The most important thing that Socrates is talking about, the very thing that got him killed? Or did you decide, nah, I don't already believe that. I don't already have a worldview that incorporates this. I wasn't taught from a young age about the dialectic and the daemon. I wasn't taught that we are given a guide that communicates from our highest benefit to us at all times. So, piss off. Take a hike, Mac. Get out of here. I'm going to defend my own beliefs. My family believes something else. I'm going to defend that. Stab, 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 stab. So, comment in the comment section. Are you team stab or team ice cream? Are you rejecting this and team stab, or are you becoming more enthusiastic and optimistic and inspired even to better understand the logos and the dialectic the way that we're reading? And also get into the other series we have on this channel, Philosophical Midwifery, to find out how to uncover the source of those stabby beliefs that we all have as human beings, so you can free yourself from them. So you'll never be like Meno. So, team ice cream or team stabby? So, do they become mean-spirited or like a bad daemon? If the daemon, the good daemon, is what it means to be happy, By the way, one understanding of bad daemon is, well, if the daemon is the highest benefit, the highest good, to participate in the logos and dialectic the highest, and guides and does so not for its own benefit, to guide its subjects, like a doctor doesn't do medicine for his benefit, it's always for the patient's, otherwise it's corrupt. So if the daemon is the highest good and the highest art and the highest use of the logos and dialectic to give the highest benefit, then the bad daemon would, one way of understanding that is the opposite. Least rational is another way of saying least dialectic and logos based in your communication and understanding. Least artful. Least beneficial. Now, another way of understanding the kakko daemon, or the bad daemon, is the voice of the daemon can be called the inner voice. But there is an inner voice that we have that's more prevalent and louder. That reflects the pathologos. The voice that says you're not good enough. The voice that says to have fear. The voice that says to have doubt. The voice that grifters or right-wingers or conservatives prey upon. Fear, doubt, not good enough. That's the voice of the pathologos that causes you to undermine yourself, causes you to self-sabotage, becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. It fills you with doubt and gets you to undermine yourself, and then you act in a negative way, and then you walk away thinking, oh, I guess I was rubbish all along. That voice was right. That's the voice of the pathologos. That's the one that we need to free ourselves from in philosophical midwifery, like on this channel. So the more we can understand that through philosophical midwifery and use the dialectic to trace it back to its cause, one of the key aspects of the dialectic is, what's the cause? You've seen a repeating theme in your problems. What's its cause? So we want to free ourselves. So it's negative, but it's also positive in that it's your mind communicating to you, hey, you've got this problem. There's a puzzle you haven't solved yet. You are carrying a false conclusion. That's not good. It's not just. Reality won't tolerate it. You believe something fundamentally false and inadequate about yourself. Don't do it. In fact, I'm going to stop you from reaching your highest goals until you take some time to have a look and reflect on yourself, to free yourself from this negativity, this false belief of self and reality. But once we do that, that usually louder voice of the pathologos can become silent, and now we're free, and we can tune into what is a more subtle and more quiet voice, the voice of the daemon. So one way of understanding the Greek word kakko daemon, or bad daemon, is the voice of the pathologos. So with those possibilities in mind, take them both, carry them with you. So those who are harmed become miserable. Those who are miserable play out their pathologos. Do the least benefit, do the most harm, become miserable and angry and mean-spirited. Meno says, I do indeed think so. Therefore, is there anyone at all who wishes to be miserable and a kakko daemon? Again, appearance, but he says, no, of course not. No one actually wants to be a tyrant. No one wants to be miserable and do harm. Accordingly then, is it not the case that anyone wishing for bad things, O Meno? Okay, so this sounds like a conclusion. We have ara, which is accordingly and then therefore. So this sounds like the conclusion part of this part of the text. or this dialectic within the dialectic of the whole. So accordingly then, sounds like a conclusion. Anyone wishing for bad things unless if they do indeed wish to be in unless they actually want to be miserable and bad daemon like, harmful and mean-spirited and rubbish, it is not the case that anyone wishes. Oh, okay, here we go. So accordingly then, it is not the case that anyone wishes for bad things unless they actually wish to be miserable and do harm, which no one does. For what else is it to be miserable than to desire bad things? Oh, so we have a new definition at the end here. So that's interesting because we know that the second half of the conclusion of the dialectic is to take it back to the start. So maybe this is a mini dialectic right here because we're going back to miserable. For what else is it to be miserable than to desire bad things and to possess, hold, own, acquire, get them? So what does it mean to be miserable? To desire bad things. Caused by what? A belief. Led to believe. You desire bad things. What does desire mean? To come to be yourself. That's what makes you miserable. Ooh. You ever met people who desire bad things? Are they miserable SOBs? Because if they are fortunate or unfortunate enough to get them, does them harm, makes them miserable, and makes them mean-spirited or like a bad daemon, makes them more tyrannical or play out their pathologos. So that bullying voice of the pathologos, they are able to do it to others. Hurt people, that idea. Do unto others what was done unto you. What you say is probably true, Socrates. Okay, so we're not interested in probability. Why? Because we don't care about we don't care about the many. We want truth. We want to understand something that's eternally true. That's why this is the hero's journey, the true hero's journey. Because we're not just saving one genocide, we're saving all genocides. Not just all genocides that humanity might do. All genocides any species might do. Not just in this universe, but whatever universe you incarnate into or find yourself in the future or wherever we go. We're after truth. We want the principle. So probability ain't gonna cut it, my friend. But fortunately, we are not bound to Meno because we are not in the level of belief. Doesn't matter if Meno doesn't believe it. We're not proselytizing, we're not door knocking, hey, share my belief. If enough people believe it, maybe that's a justification of truth. That's why we should do a genocide, because we'll cut out those beliefs that are different from our beliefs, then there'll be more of us. That will make it true, right? No, you idiot. That's not what makes things true. That's in the level of beliefs. Beliefs are where conflicts happen. You don't win by having the most shared belief. You win by realizing that beliefs are stupid and the cause of problems. Oh, but I love my dear beliefs. I know. That's why they have power. You love them. Means what? Love means you desire to have them. Desire means what? You want them to be yourself. You desire beliefs. You want those beliefs to be you. I am a Christian. I am a Catholic. I am a Protestant. You desire the belief to be your identity. What happens to those people? They become miserable and they act in a negative way, a harmful way, a mean-spirited way. Why? Because as we've seen just here, Beliefs are the cause of our problems. Recognizing the truth is the thing that will allow us to see that bad things are bad, but you can be led to believe bad things are good. In other words, those who still remain desiring belief have been led to believe that beliefs are good. They haven't yet gone through this kind of reading of the Meno and have recognized for themselves that beliefs are bad. So that people who are dearly holding to beliefs, in spite of what we just read, are suffering from this problem. They've been led to believe that bad things are bad. They will be miserable. They will be mean-spirited. They'll function in a negative way, like a negative daemon. Interesting. What do you make of that? Are you ready to give up your dear beliefs? Now, if you're a human being, your first impulse or urge will be, no, but I love them. And they come from my loved ones. I love my dear Ma and my dear Pa, and they were both Protestants, so I want to be a Protestant. Yes. But now you can recognize, where did you get that? It's no coincidence that you're Protestant, having been born into a Protestant family, because someone had to have led you to believe that beliefs are good, when it ain't. Why? Because you can be led to believe that bad things that are good, and then you will desire them, and then you will become miserable and act in the negative way. What a terrible thing to be led to believe. Whereas if you sacrifice belief for recognition, that we are learning to do here through the dialectic, reason, understanding, the logos, you will recognize for yourself what things are good and what things are bad. And then you won't go on to desire the bad things, you will desire the good things and be benefited, and the opposite would be the case. You'll be happy and be like a good daemon. That's our goal here. And then we can ask, is that virtue? Is virtue to be happy and like a good daemon? Might be. Interesting. Really turns Meno's definition on the head. His definition of virtue was to desire beautiful things and be able to acquire them. What we're recognizing now is, hang on a second, it's to be able to recognize the good, to recognize beliefs and be able to let go of them, to instead recognize the good and be able to acquire that, which is what? To become like a good daemon. So what's virtue? To be a good daemon. Is what follows. Again, we see something in the text, we push the implications. Where does it go? So again, and then that's a kind of hypothesis. We put it in our hypothesis set, carry it with us. Is that virtue? And that's neat, because if we find ourselves saying, yeah, but do I have to give up all beliefs? There are those other beliefs I really love. You know, I love that Jesus belief, because that means I get to go to the church picnic on Sundays, and the people at the church picnics are really nice. They're not like the people at my footy club who are a bit mean. So can I still believe in that? We can recognize, well, hang on a second. I have recognized for myself that beliefs are the things that cause badness. Therefore, we don't have to bomb anyone. We just find a way of addressing beliefs. Philosophy and midwifery. So I can recognize my own urge to hold on to my belief, my own urge to desire that belief. Even though I recognize it's bad, I must have been led to believe it's good. So I have a choice. I can ignore what I recognize and go on desiring something I recognize to be bad, but I will become miserable. I will function as a bad daemon. And I'll probably hurt my soul and anybody around me. And it's not because some atheist yelled at us, give up your beliefs. It's because you've recognized it for yourself. You didn't even have to believe the atheist. Now, it doesn't mean being atheist, of course, because the realm of being is a divine realm. It is eternal and intelligible and immortal. And it creates as the conditions and the cause of our physical world. Only we don't have to use the language of belief. We don't have to say, it's Xenu, it's Muhammad, it's Jesus. You don't have to use that language. It's not needed. You can use the logos based on your own understanding and recognition. So no need for internal conflict or external conflict. Pretty neat. Is that pretty neat? Lovely ice cream. Ice cream for the world. Ice cream for your soul. What you say is probably true. Blech. Oh, Socrates, no one wishes for bad things. Good. Doing better than the Israelis right now, right? Oh, we have to murder those Palestinians or they're barbarians. They wish for bad things. They do. No, Meno has changed his mind. Interesting. We didn't have to genocide Meno's people and his town. Why? He could change his mind. He saw a problem of a belief he was carrying. Therefore, if the cause of people's bad actions, their misery and negative actions, misery and mean-spiritedness is caused by a belief, what do? Address the belief. Change their mind. Did Meno? Yup. Hooray. Yay. People can change their minds. Do people desire bad things? Being the bad people, that it's right to hurt, harm your enemies and all that? No. No one wishes for bad things. Hooray. And confetti. Very important thing to recognize. Now, if you have a friend or a family member, or someone you talk to at the bar, who thinks like Meno did at the start, and then you went ahead and told them, hey, by the way, no one actually wishes for bad things, what would they say? Get out of here, you mug. They'd throw their beer in your face. However, if you were able to have this kind of a conversation of the dialectic where they can be led step by step, using their own language, using small changes as you go, rolling the conclusions on, starting specifically with where they're at, starting where they're at, this is their belief, a certain quote, then they could come to a recognition for themselves. So if you go in there and say, hey, here's a belief that I have, no one wishes for bad things, he'll say, well, I don't believe that. Who's to say what's right and wrong? Or, you're challenging my belief? My father was an army person. He was a general. And he fervently believed that there are some people who desire bad things and we need to be courageous by shooting them in the head. So I'm going to beat you up for challenging the belief that I hold. I'm not going to be led to believe something different because I've already been led to believe something. However, Meno did change his mind. So again, the significance of the dialectic. It leads people not to belief, but to recognition for themselves. They no longer want to eat the monkey. Socrates, were you not saying just now that virtue or excellence is to wish for good things and to be able? Okay, so this seems to be tying it back to the start. So maybe this is the... analysis part of the dialectic? Yes, I did say so. Is it not the case then that this is saying that wishing belongs to all of us? And in this way, indeed, no one person is better than another. Hooray! All my... all of the sound drops. What a conclusion. The steps were so simple. Just small steps that just rolled on. And what's our conclusion? One person is no better than another. What's the significance of that? Wealth inequality. Some people get to be billionaires, some people can't pay rent. Because the billionaires are better. It's a meritocracy. They're just better people. Women get to be subjugated. They can be told what they can and can't do. Because women are not as good as men. Men are better than women. Racism, same idea. Genocide, war. We are the chosen people. They are the savages. What's the implication to come to the simple conclusion? And it only took us, what, a page, 2 pages? Here's top of page 11 and now bottom of page 12. Worth it? What would happen? What would happen in our world? And what would happen for our soul? Ever beat yourself up? Ever put yourself down? Ever felt guilty? Ever tried to get in fights with yourself? Or play the victim? What happens if no person is better than another? You can't say you're not as good as the next person. You can't do philosophy. Again, philosophy, what do? Push the implications. All right, so there's our conclusion. This wishing belongs to all of us. We all... Okay, what is the wishing? Virtue of excellence is to wish for good things and to be able. Now that's purple on purple, so let's make it blue. But this wishing is for all of us. What does that mean? No one is more virtuous or excellent than another. So it appears. Then it is clear that if one is better than another, then one would be better according to their ability. Ah. So it's not the wish. So there are 2 parts to that quote. To wish for good things is the part 1, and to be able is part 2. Can you see that? Let's make it green. The wishing belongs to all of us. Therefore, if there are some people better, they'll be better according to their ability. The second part, their ability to be able. So we all desire the same thing. We all wish for good things that will make us happy and function as a good daemon. So what makes some people better than others? What makes Socrates better than the people who killed him? Their ability. Now, we would say from what we just experienced ourselves that part of that ability to be able to acquire that good thing includes the ability to surface and remove our false beliefs, because that's what leads us to act bad and be miserable and to act in a mean-spirited way. And part of that ability would be to be able to reason through the dialectic in this way to grasp the truth of the good that we just did now. So we all desire the good things. It all comes down to ability to acquire them. How do we acquire the good? At least it requires philosophical midwifery and philosophy that we're reading here, true philosophy, the dialectic. Is there more to acquire the good? What do you think? If the good that we free our blocks from free the blocks that prevent us from getting in midwifery, and the good that we understand through the dialectic, and open ourselves up into the experience of the good through the dialectic. So we have the experience of nous, and then after the experience, we make sense of it using our understanding of through the dialectic. And then we not only do we understand it, we can go into it in greater depth because of that understanding through the dialectic. And we integrate that understanding and experience into our being. We make it ourselves. We desire it to be ourselves. And once it is, we function with it, which is what Socrates is doing right now, again through the dialectic. So, and how do we uncover what's false? That's midwifery, which is the dialectic applied to our false beliefs. So, if that's what is needed to understand, experience, and integrate and function with the good, what else is needed? What else is needed in our ability? The one thing, it seems, that makes people better than others. Because the wishing for good things that is necessary for excellence is universal. The difference is their ability. What else is needed other than the dialectic? Money? How much does it cost to play? Well, you can donate to the channel if you want, but no one does. Not yet anyway. Hopefully soon. But it's free. There's a free link to the text below. That's free. Do you have to have a degree? No, we do our best to remove all of those words. All those words that are used to gatekeep. You have to have a degree so you can use these big fancy words. We try not to do that where we can. So you don't need a degree. You don't need a lot of money. How many Instagram followers do you need? Well, I've already mentioned today, I don't have a lot of people follow me on YouTube yet. So what else is needed? You don't have to be rich. You don't have to have a degree. Can McDonald's come along and patent it? Can you patent the dialectic? I don't think so. You can even find a free link to the text below. Makes you wonder. What else is needed? And then, because we are only better than other people because of our ability to do what? Rich, followers, degrees, none of that. Bombs? Nope. Good thing to wonder about. We'll take our wondering and our puzzlement and curiosity. It's a good question. It's a good thing to be wondering about. I'm gonna take it with you in a day. Take that wondering with you in the day. What else would be needed, given what we've seen of the dialectic, what we've understood of philosophy so far, and how much money it costs to play? And if you do carry it with you because you're naturally curious, share with us in Discord if you want to join that. Again, free, link below. And in the comment section of the YouTube channel, share with us what it's been like. Carry it with you for a week. Let us know what happens to you. Does it affect you? Have you become carrying this question? Is that part of an ability? Is that part of the ability to acquire the good? Having a question, being puzzled for a long time? Because the people who are, miserable and mean-spirited, like Meno might have been, think they know. Meno didn't start with a question about virtue. He thought he knew. So we give up certainty for wonder. Does that make you less miserable and mean-spirited? Hold it for a month. Hold this question for a month. Did it make you the opposite? More happy and more daemon-like? To have this wonder about what's the ability that makes us different? That makes some people more virtuous, more excellent than others? Fun experiment. So, if the wishing for good things belong to all of us. And in that way, no person is better than another. But it's clear that if indeed one person is better than another, it would be according to their ability. Their ability, the ability part. Very much so. Accordingly then, as it is reasonable, according to your logos, there's one of those big words, is the logos. His own logos. He started this. It's our logos. In other words, that's curious because we could say, well, we're following the logos. Meno started by saying, I don't know this dialectic. I'm not familiar with the logos. My whole education has been having beliefs from my teacher and family and society and getting good at parroting them back, just like our current society. I wasn't familiar with the logos. I didn't know how to go from many in our sense world, many examples, to a definition, from the many to the one. I don't know how to do that. And you said that was comedically tragic. So Meno didn't have that, but we were following the logos in these steps that we're unpacking and understanding for ourselves, recognizing each of the stages of the dialectic. So Socrates was following the logos. Why then has Socrates said, according to your logos? It's almost as though in participating in this way, following a leader in a conversation, not making speeches at each other of our own opinions, but allowing himself to be led rationally and together through the dialectic, Meno has made this good thing, the logos, become his. What did we just say? Excellence and virtue is desiring the good to be ourself and to be able to do that. Well, it seems like Meno was able to do that because Socrates is saying it's your logos. Has he made it himself? In that case, has he been made more good? Well, he's definitely been made good with this conclusion, less likely to harm people he considers bad. There's another puzzle. What would it be like for the logos not to be something that we're alien to, but to make it ours? Is that virtue? To desire the good things and be able to acquire them? Is the logos the height of all good things? Is it the best of all the good things? And then if that's the case, how would we be able? First of all, we'd have to desire it. Now, we all desire good things anyway, so we'd have to have the ability to recognize that the logos is the highest good. So that's part of our ability to acquire the good things, to recognize we're not after money or fame or likes or followers. We're after the logos. That's the highest good. And our ability would be, how do we actually make it our own? Is that what we're doing? So it's not just Socrates and Meno, but it's Socrates, Meno, and you and me. Another puzzle we can wonder about. Accordingly then, as it is reasonable, according to your logos, virtue or excellence is this: the power of being able to provide good things. Wow. That sounds like a conclusion. That might be the end of this dialectic part. It appears to me, says Meno, that it has to be exactly in this way. So he's got appearances and exactly. You don't have exactly with appearances, but so he's a bit confused, but I thought, all right, we'll keep going. It appears to me that it has to be exactly in this way, as you now understand it. As you understand it? Didn't he understand it? It was his logos. Socrates, and surely then let us see if this that you say is true. You saying it, not me. For perhaps you have spoken well, and you say that to be able to provide good things is excellence or virtue. I do indeed. So that sounds like a new definition. So that seems like the cutoff point. Now, this is our new definition. Are we agreed? Yes. A new definition is excellence is to be able to provide good things. Now, it seems to be able to have them, which means provide it for yourself, but maybe also others. So maybe this to provide opens it up to being able to acquire it, not just for you, but those you are talking with or care about. So that sounds like a new definition. Do you call good things such as health, and wealth? So that sounds like the demonstration of this new definition. So here it sounds like we're in a new dialectic. We come to a new conclusion. And it did sound like that last part was the conclusion, didn't it? We've gone back to the start and say, hey, by the way, didn't you say that's going back to the start is synthesis and analysis? Didn't you say that virtue is the wish for good things and be able? Yeah. But haven't we seen that everyone wishes good things? There aren't bad people in the world that deserve punishment or prison or bonds or fines. Yeah. So really what makes people better is their ability to acquire the good. Yeah. Therefore, the new definition we're walking away with, having gone through that little dialectic, having probably made your soul better and ours 2,500 years through time, benefiting our soul. Because not only are we better, we would be able to provide that goodness to our friends. We can go to anyone. Do you know a teacher who punishes their students? You can provide this good to them to benefit their students who are no longer being abused and make the teacher a better soul. Do you know someone in politics, someone who's supporting a war or whatever, or genocide or colonialism or capitalism? If you've been made better, maybe you'd be able to provide that good thing to them through the logos, through the dialectic. Help them, lead them to not believe that we're all the same because we all desire good things. There are no bad people. It all comes down to our ability to provide good things. Meaning if you want a peaceful world, provide the conditions which people can be provided good things, which would be use the resources, share the resources and technology of the world so that all of our basic needs are met, and provide the conditions in the society for us to learn the logos, learn the dialectic. Now that all of our universal needs are met, rationally, even if it means that person can't have their 10th yacht. Oh, what a disaster. Even if it means we can't pollute the water and the air and we can drink clean water and breathe clean air. Wouldn't that be a sacrifice worth having? Sacrificing dirty air and dirty water? In other words, by the way, they're not an enemy just because they're a billionaire exploiting people for their own financial interest. Because they also wish for the good. It just comes down to their ability. Their ability, their power of being able to provide good things. That's not physical good things, is it? It's this. How does Socrates providing a good for Meno? Bombs, yachts, money, followers, likes. The logos, my friend. So if we have gotten this, we have been benefited through time, through 2,500 years of time, and maybe we have been made more virtuous if we not only have been led to the recognition for ourselves, but we have been led to recognize the method of recognition so that we have gained the power to be able to provide good things by learning and mastering the dialectic. Providing those good things to anyone else we might talk to, share our highest vision, our highest seeing, our highest understanding, and our highest self with. Show yourself now that you know more of yourself. Why? Because the wishing belongs to all of us. So in that way, not one person is better than others. Stop with the prisons and the bombs. And therefore, what makes actually someone better? Because we're not all equal. We're not all exactly the same. Our ability, and according to your logos, virtue or excellence, we have a new definition. It's the power of being able to provide good things. Now, let's see if we can look up each of the words. All right, so let's go into space and nail them, because this is a new definition at the end of a dialectic. Let's nail these words down for ourselves. Why? We don't have to believe anyone, even a fantastic translator. We can recognize the words for ourselves. Worth doing? Seems to be. Why? Because I say so? No, because we recognize it ourselves, having gone through what we just did, having been made better and more excellent. So let's go to space. Here we go. The word sounds like this. Dynamis. And the word is ability, skill, or power. So yeah, power, maybe not good enough. So the ability and skill and power, but I think maybe ability and skill. So the capacity, the faculty. And let's look at the power, the might, the influence, the authority, the faculty, the capacity, the capability. Yeah, so the capability, I think, suits better. I carry all of it. The power, the capacity, the skill, the ability, the outward power, the faculty and ability. What do you like? The capacity? The capability. I like that. The capability. I like capability because power is, I don't know, power didn't quite fit, did it? The capability. So what's virtue? Well, we said it was to desire good things and have the capability to be able to acquire them. Not beautiful things, good things. But hang on, we all desire good things. The only people who desire bad things are those who've been conned by belief. They haven't seen the value of recognition. Hey, maybe they've even been led to believe that belief is good. Ever met a person like that? Ever met a lot of human beings at this part of history who have been led to believe that beliefs are good? Seems to be where we're at as a species, is it not? Maybe time to read the Meno, human beings. All right, so what makes us different? What makes some people more excellent than others? What makes a Socrates different than a Meno? The capability of being able to provide good things. Now, so capability. Now the next word is, so notice we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 words. This word here is just the. Let's make sure, because why not? So we might as well nail this one down. The word is, let's go back to space. Do. And do. Do is that song that's famous on Instagram right now. Do. I don't know what language it is, but it's kind of neat that we get songs from different cultures and different languages. Da. It's just the word da. Right? It's just the word da. Okay. As we suspected, do. Tu means the. This word, I have to practice more of my Greek. So tu is just T. Tu is just TOU, as we see, looks very similar to English. The next word is dynamis. The D looks like a D. The U is actually a Y. The V that looks like a V in Greek is actually an N. A looks like an A. That funny U is an M. And the I is an I. And the kind of S-like thing is an S. So it's D-Y-N-A-M-I-S. Dynamis. Dynamis. The power, the capability, the skill to be able to acquire. Okay, now this next word. Dynamis. Notice we're taking time to see it for ourselves so we can recognize it. Different than how we used to read philosophy, right? We have to read a million books and read it really quickly, skim each of the words, just not even question the translator. We're not doing it that way anymore. And we just saw why. Okay, back to space. That's the board. Next word. Oof. Polisiste. Porisiste. Okay. P-O-R-I. That funny one is a Z. E-S. And that 8-looking thing is a T-H-A-I. Polisiste. Put it in Wiktionary. That means nothing. Put it in our ancient Greek dictionary. Polisiste. Yay, we have one. Woof. To bring about, to furnish, to provide. To bring about, to provide. Okay. Now we see it in Plato here. In the laws. Now let's load the English. The divine of all things, whose motion when developed into becoming provides an ever-flowing font of being. Oh, okay. So in the laws, there's talking about the divine of all things, whose motion when developed into becoming provides an ever-flowing font of being. So provides, this word provides actually is used in the laws to mean what is provided from the divine in the realm of being, providing what's needed for our physical world. That's interesting. Isn't that neat that we have this? Again, no money needed. Well, I had to buy internet access. But other than that, no gatekeeping. Again, we have Phaedo here. We have the Republic here. Let's take this one. The Symposium. Oh, lots. Another one in the Republic. That. No. This one here. Hide that. In the Gorgias, Socrates says, someone says, now consider first whether you think this account is satisfactory, and that there are certain other occupations likewise having to do with the soul, some artistic, with forethought for what is to the soul's best advantage. Interesting. Art is linked to the soul's best advantage. Others making light of this. Oh, okay. Others who claim themselves as being an artist are making fun of that because they're not actually doing what's to the soul's advantage. Interesting, considering we just looked at virtue being able to do what's actually good. But here he's saying art is to do with the good for the soul. Okay, but again, in the former case, considering merely the soul's pleasure and how it may be contrived, neither inquiring which of the pleasures is better or worse, not caring for aught but mere gratification. Okay, so in here is that word polysiste. So polysiste is in here. Where is it? Can you see it on the left? Can we search for it? Control C. Over here. Control F. Where's my find section? Oops. There we go. That's why. So Control C, and then paste it here. Okay, get rid of a letter or two. Here we go, right at the start. Now consider whether you think this account is satisfactory. All right, let's keep reading. Load up this one, the Republic. We're looking for the word to be able to furnish or provide. Now let's look at a different dictionary. To bring about, to furnish, to provide, to supply, to procure. I like that, procure. So we've got the skill, ability, or capacity to be able to procure, provide, bring about. Symposium. For such illustrious, well-known as this, as they will do all they can, and so much the more in proportion to their excellence. They are in love with what is immortal. Now those who are teeming in the body betake. Acquire an immortality. So here is that Greek word being used in the symposium to mean acquire. So it's to get it. See, able to provide in our translation in the Balboa seems like you're doing it to somebody else, but really it's to acquire. And in the Republic, at last, son of Ariston, said I. This is in the Republic, and we are in book 4, section 427D. The next thing is to procure a sufficient light somewhere and look for yourself. So procure is the thing here. So it's to get it for yourself, which is interesting because the translation we were reading is to be able to provide, which sort of seems like it's to others. But again, we don't have to just believe the translator. We can recognize it for ourselves. So to procure or acquire or bring about. And what else do we see it in? Another section of the Republic. To accumulate a treasure from the gods, some people. So they bring about a treasure. So it's accumulate. It's really to bring it about for yourself, which is interesting. So, but in this, but in the laws, the realm of being provides an ever-flowing font of being. So it's either procuring it for yourself or providing it. So we see back to a definition: to supply or provide, which means for someone else, or to procure it or bring it about for yourself, or acquire it, as we've seen. So we've seen both. So isn't that worthwhile? Reading in this way. So we've got let's make a note. Doubt means the. And then, oh my goodness, I can't remember how to pronounce it in Greek anymore. The skill, I should have taken notes. To be able to acquire, provide, supply, procure. Okay, let's highlight that. To acquire, to procure, to provide, to bring about. To bring about is the first one here in the dictionary. What is this there? To acquire or bring about or provide or accumulate. So for yourself or others, it sounds like it means. Whereas dynamis, we saw was dynamis is the ability, skill, power, capacity. The ability, skill, power, capacity. Makes sense? Yeah, the faculty, the capacity, the power. The faculty. I like faculty. All right, so the faculty, power, the ability to acquire or provide. And let's look up this last word because it's only, go away. Why are you not going away? So okay, I'm not going to pronounce it in Greek because I keep forgetting. Just 3 words. The ability or power to acquire. And the last word is taking the time to nail it down for ourselves. Because we have a new idea of justice, of virtue. It's got a space. You can see what I'm doing. Tagatha. And Tagatha means nothing in Wiktionary. Tagatha means in our ancient Greek dictionary well born. Oh, good. Ah, Agatha. Agatha means good. So Ta Agatha is, yeah, it says the good with the suffix ta. Oh yeah, it's good. Just good. Of persons, of things. Ah, it's just good. Ah, here we go. Yeah, Agatha. Right, is that good? I think. So the only difference is the suffix here. So, all right, so we have a new definition of what it means to be virtue following his logos, our logos, the logos. The ability to acquire good. Now, the translator says good things, but it's not necessarily good things. It's just good. Oops. What happened? Here we go. So highlight that. Leave a note. Good. So we are all the same. There are no bad guys. There are no villains. There are no heathens or evil people. There is no sinister evil force that desires bad things. We're all the same because we all desire good. Now, that can be good things. The good is also is one of the aspects of being. So we desire the experience of the good itself. That's the essence of the Republic. All souls seek truth and beauty because they're drawn to the experience of the good, the experience of the good itself. But also, He says, by the way, the brilliant light of being that we seek, that becomes our model, our paradigm for beauty and justice and goodness that we use in the dialectic. There is a cause of even that, the good self. So that's the first hypothesis. In the first hypothesis of Parmenides, it's the one self. But we recognize that the good here is like the word altos, in that it has those three metaphysical levels. And we've already covered, I think we've covered the three levels. It's one of the fundamental triads. Here we are, over here. Here we go. So these are our three levels of reality that we learn about and are after in philosophy. We have the physical world of becoming over here. That's where Meno is stuck on. That's the world of appearances. That's the world of opinions. That's the world of conflict and nonsense that we are living as a society. Our next level of evolution is to discover the logos, which is awakening philosophy, which is the name of the channel. Why? Because the logos and the dialectic is how we move from the realm of appearances and conflicts, because it's all based on beliefs and nonsense and just our physical desires, as we read, I think it was the Gorgias. Hey, true art is what benefits the soul. It isn't just pursuing pleasures. That's the movement from the physical world to the realm of being. That's what we're doing now. And of course, even the realm of being, which is eternal and immortal, and the cause of this, as we said, it provides, there's our word, provide. It provides the source for the physical world, but also it has a cause, which is the self. Because even the divine has a selfhood, and all of the aspects, justice itself, beauty itself, goodness itself, virtue itself, as we defined in the Meno, virtue is one of the eidos, the aspects of being. So it has a selfhood, meaning there has to be a precondition or cause. That's the self. Now in the Parmenides, it's called the one self, but in the Republic, it's referred to as the good self. So two different words for it. So what? Well, we talked about the word altos, having the particular, so we can desire good things and desire it to be ourself. So the desire good things, to desire it is you want it to become the self. That could be in the physical world. It could be the honorific, like self-beauty, self-justice. It's the realm of being, or it could be the one self. Now, the word altos has those three levels. So every time we see the word altos, provided you're reading the Balboa translation, you have the opportunity to unlock three different questions and puzzles, three different things to carry with you and be puzzled about, three different readings of the text. We talked about how in a good film, there's the narrative, which is the obvious, there's the twist, and then there's the other level that you have to go on a deep dive for. That's a film theory if you go to that guy's channel on the YouTube. But we can do the same thing. So our new definition of virtue is the ability to be able to acquire good. And the word good, just like the word self, has those three levels. Do you want good things in the physical world? Like good friends, like a good YouTube channel to do philosophy. That's a good thing. A good friend to have a good conversation about this over coffee. And I don't have a coffee here. Sacrilege. Bomb me. Do you desire good things in being? Well, that's what we're doing on this channel. So that's a level of the good. Goodness itself, the idea of the good. Idea of the good means the eidos of the good. Eidos means the aspect of being you can behold, the beholding of the good. Sometimes called bliss, or the brilliant light of pure being. Experienced as bliss. The opposite of miserable. And by the way, if you have that experience and the logos of that because you've gotten there through the dialectic, as the spiritual method that we're learning here, the paradigm of going from many to one, the paradigm of spirituality, then you can use that experience and the understanding of it to function as a daemon. So there's our opposite of miserable and bad daemon. You can be blissful and have the capacity to function as a good daemon. Isn't that neat? Worth doing the dialectic? Worth reading in this way? Yes, I think so. But of course, that method of reaching there, you can turn about even on this experience and use the dialectic. Hey, is dialectic about pushing the implications? What's the implications of there being a good itself and the logos itself, the self-logos? Or searching for the causes? What's the cause even of this? Allowing us to reflect even on this experience to go to the self, the one self, or the good self. So, the particular, the honorific, and the ultimate applies to the word altos, also applies to the word good. Pretty neat. Makes sense? Because we desire the good to become self. If self has those 3 levels of meaning, equally so, it would follow rationally that the good should also be able to apply. Good things, good itself in being, and the good self. Neat. So, we've ended today's stream on a new definition of virtue that we recognize for ourselves, while also learning the method of how to come to recognition of things for ourselves. Pretty neat. We could say, hey, are we learning that method that we're taking the time to unpack and understand for ourselves? Are we improving our ability to acquire good? Why won't you go away? Why? I know I can see you there, but you gotta go away. Okay. Okay, I'll just pretend it's not there. Maybe if I click on this one. Click on this one. Might be a bug. Okay. Alright. Okay. Well, like, the ability to acquire and bring about, provide. Are we doing that by learning the dialectic? If so, we are learning the thing that distinguishes good people from less good people. Because if virtue is the desire for good things and to be able to have them, but everyone desires, everyone desires the good things, some are tricked by beliefs. Therefore, the only difference that makes some better than others and more virtuous and excellent is our ability to acquire good, which seems to be very directly tied with the dialectic that we're learning. So we have a question. Have we, because of what we've done today, become more virtuous as a soul in a way that's eternal and true, not based on belief, but based on truth? Meaning we've become more good and virtuous, well, by learning more of the ability to acquire good, to make it the self. Have we become more virtuous in a way that can last beyond even this lifetime because it's universally true? Is that true virtue? Have we become more virtuous and excellent today, having gone through this? Maybe. What do you think? Curious question, good question to hold. Hold that question, and maybe it'll be answered later on in the text. And like the other question, let us know. Hold it for a week. What happens to you? Do you become less miserable and negative, daemon? Do you become more happy and functioning in a positive, good daemon way? Having held this question, that have we become more excellent today by having learnt the dialectic? Because it seems to be the ability to acquire the good. And what distinguishes Socrates from Meno? More excellent people from less excellent people? What do you think? Is it interesting? What would our world be like if this is what we learn every day? With these questions to wonder about, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you had fun. I hope you enjoyed the puzzlement, and I hope to see you next time. Be sure to like and subscribe on YouTube and all that, and join on Twitch if you want to join the Twitch chat. Join the Discord, again for free. Link below. You get notification when we go live, and a link to the text again for free is below. Thank you again for joining me, and I hope to see you next time in a wonderful state of wonder.